During her 5 years on the Supreme Court, Justice Amy Coney Barrett has become one of the most closely watched voices on the bench. Ahead of the release of her new book tomorrow, Justice Barrett spoke with CBS News senior correspondent Norah O'Donnell in a rare interview, a wide-ranging conversation that included the court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade and the impact it had on the country and her family.
In Justice Amy Coney Barrett's office.
Yes, you see. Abigail Adams.
There hangs a portrait of someone the 53-year-old mother of 7 calls the most influential woman of the founding era.
I like to think she would be pleased if she could see that she had 5 children, she was a mother to many, that I can be simultaneously a mother and a justice on the court.
Fitting for a woman considered to be the most influential justice of her time. She was a key vote in the court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade back in 2022.
Hey, go home! Supreme Court has got to go!
The Supreme Court's decision in Dobbs gave that decision to the democratic process and to the states. It didn't roll back rights. It didn't render abortion illegal, unconstitutional, or anything else. And in fact, many states have very fully protected abortion rights, even more than under the regime of Roe, since the time of the decision in Dobbs.
But it rolled back a federal right to abortion, or constitutional right to an abortion.
Well, what it said was that the Constitution had not protected the abortion right under the Due Process Clause. And it said that Roe had been an error, and Casey had been an error to hold otherwise.
It was that decision that led to increased security measures for Justice Barrett and her family.
When I became the, let's say, not so proud owner of a bulletproof vest, one of my boys saw it and said, "Wow, is that what I think it is? That is so cool. Can I try it on?" Thinking this is a parenting moment that I wasn't quite prepared for. I said, "Sure, go ahead." And he puts it on, and then he looked up at me and he said, "Wait, why do you have a bulletproof vest?" So, we've tried to explain those things to the kids, and they've been troopers.
And has that ever caused you to think about leaving the court, that threat to your security or your family's security?
No.
What a moment there. Norah joins us now. That's a fantastic interview, and that anecdote about the bulletproof vest really brings home the stakes here. And we have, in the near future, some key decisions that could come down on the Trump administration's use of power, and the court could potentially check that power or not. What did the justice say about that?
I think that is the central question, right? The Constitution set up these 3 separate co-equal branches, just to remind everybody what we learned, of course, in school, right? Yes. And of course, the executive and the legislative are the political branches. And she's trying to remind people that the judicial is the non-political, right? Mm-hmm. But people have cast doubt on this Supreme Court because it is a conservative majority. And with Congress in the control of the Republican Party, will this Supreme Court check that executive power? And in everything we see, and President Trump promised this, that's why people voted for him. He is pushing those limits of executive power. And this is going to be a fascinating term coming up. We've got everything from transgender rights, redistricting, tariffs, obviously very big for the business community and all across America. And so she's trying to stress that they look at each case on their own and they decide them, and that she, in her mind, is an independent thinker, is the words that she used.
Nora, it's so rare that the justices give interviews. I was so fascinated when we saw the family pictures. I come from a family of 4. She's got 7 kids. So I'm like, wow, that seems like a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And they adopted 2 of their children. What was your biggest takeaway from that? I'm fascinated that she can do this job and have 7 children at the same time and be married and all the things that come with that.
Well, at the beginning of that piece, we showed Abigail Adams in her office. Abigail Adams was a mother of 5.
Wow.
Back when, of course, she said to her husband, "Hey, remember the ladies, John Adams, when you're writing the Constitution," because women had no voice, no political power. And she said, "I think Abigail Adams would be proud of where we are today." And yet there are questions about Amy Coney Barrett's votes, questions about women's rights in America. And so, but she has talked about how being a mother influences her decision. And it certainly, I think, is different to see the Supreme Court, right? To see, now we have Justice Ketanji Jackson, the first Black female justice on the Supreme Court. So Are they representative? But how does that change how they look at the law? And I think that's why there's so much mystery surrounding the Supreme Court and so much interest. And it is very rare that anybody gets to talk to a justice. So I took that responsibility quite seriously.
Well, you did a great...
As you always do. Listen, that was part 2 because the whole piece aired, the first part aired on Sunday morning. And they say, people, if you haven't seen it, go online.
And there's a 54-minute extended version you can find online as well. People are interested. Norah, thank you very much.
What else can we promote for Dobbs?
I'm just saying, it's a good conversation.
Doing lots of things.
It's great to get up early again and see everybody. Love you guys.
And it's a good book as well. Justice Barrett has much more on her legal philosophy, right? Her personal story, and the book is called Listening to the Law. Pick it up, Reflections on the Court and Constitution. It goes on sale tomorrow.